everyone, it's Teresa and I'm back with a really fun video for you today, and it's a hop. I'll give you more details about that in a minute, but don't forget this is all part of my Crafting Because of the Brave series, so don't forget to let all of the ads play so that we can make that donation to Fisher House even bigger. So let's go ahead and get into our DIYs. We're going to start off with one of these home signs. It did have like this little green reef thing on the O. I went ahead and took that off already. If you can actually pull it right off because it's like hot glue on metal, and we know how that goes. Don't use your heat gun because you're going to melt the leaves, because I would never do that. Of course, right? I'm just cleaning it off with some rubbing alcohol, and I'm taping down the bottom part. I didn't want to take the letters out, but I wanted it to stay white. So we're going to just do a quick coat. I believe I did 2 coats of paint of that Nantucket blue from Folk Art. And now we're going in with sheepskin from Folk Art. It's very similar to the Waverly chalk paint and plaster. For whatever reason, my plaster one was not nearby, so I just went ahead and went in with this one. Like I said, very similar in color. So we're just going to do a pretty heavy dry brush, if that makes sense. It's not dry, but it's not like fully loaded with paint either. I just wanted to give it a very aged look because everything we're doing today is very nautical and everything like that. And now we've got our Folk Art antique wax that I'm just going to go over everything that got that brushing of the whitish toned paint, making it look very aged, very weathered. And I'm going to do it to the bottom part as well. So I'll do it to all of the letters and then also on the bottom. And not that anybody could see it, but on the back side, I did go ahead and paint that Nantucket blue on the back too. I figured just in case you see the back of it, I wanted it to look kind of done. And I'm going to brush over on the bottom portion that was white, and that is just, like I said, it's just giving it some age. I almost wanted the bottom part to look a little bit like wood, like a driftwood that's really weathered. One of my other pieces, I think it's my last one, I really was going for that same weathered driftwood kind of look. Once we are finished with that, I'm going to take this flower from Sola Flowers and I'm just going to glue it in on the O. I thought about using different things and I just love these flowers, so I wanted to add just that really pretty touch to it, you know? And I'm going to take off this little jar. I want to say it's supposed to be candles. Yeah, it's for candles. And it had this really cute little anchor on it, and I take off the little ring, I brush over that just to give it, you know, like again, that weathered, aged, almost rusted look to it. You can definitely layer on a whole lot of stuff to give more of that rusted look if that's the, you know, if that's what you're going for. I just wanted it to kind of match with everything else. So just a little dab of glue, and we're just going to put that right there, and then that project is pretty much done. I just had to maneuver all of my fingerprints. Here it is though, all finished up. I think it's just the cutest little touch to something. Now we are going to take one of these bicycle wheels from Dollar Tree. That home sign before, like I was also from Dollar Tree. But I am going to remove every other spoke. Now, at first I was having a hard time with it, but if you take your pliers and kind of like bend it more than cut it, if that makes sense. Like you're not really cutting the wire part, you're really bending it and breaking it more than anything else. And I'm trying to make this look kind of like a captain's wheel. Is that what it's called? I'm not a Navy person, so I don't really know all the great terms, so I'm sorry if I am not using the right words for things like that, but I'm just going to take this twine and basically cover almost the entire thing. We're going to just, you know, you get it started, cut off as much as you think you need, and just start wrapping it. It's not real technical way of doing it. This is just kind of the way I went with, and I did a lot of spots of glue just to kind of keep it from unraveling. I left a lot of it open because I am going to put some florals on it, and I figured, why waste the twine? Why spend all my time wrapping it up if I'm going to cover it anyways? I've got these really pretty blue roses from Dollar Tree. And then I've also got some of this lamb's ear that's kind of like a frosted lamb's ear that I want to say I got from Joann's probably back, you know, in the winter time. It's just kind of been sitting and hanging out, and I was like, you know, let me just use it here. And now come to think of it, I could even go in with a little bit of like the antique wax and probably dull down some of that, you know, that whitish frosted look and give it kind of like a dirty look. I might do that. come to think of it. See, I continue to get good ideas just by talking through my project. And I just kind of hot glued everything. I'll admit I wasn't crazy about it, so I needed to add a little bit more. I used 2 bunches of those roses, and now I'm going to take this white flower that I can't remember the name of that I got from Dollar Tree as well, and I'm just going to kind of sporadically put it in some places. I do add some hot glue just to, make sure that it doesn't, fall out, because that would be my luck. I'd have it sitting somewhere and it would just start to fall out with my luck and end up all over the floor. The kids would steal it and I'd never see it again. So it's just kind of, this part is really just having fun, placing things where you think it needs to go. I am by no means a very skilled wreath maker, so you're probably better at it than I am, and maybe you can leave me some tips in the description box of doing better placement for flowers. I would welcome them because, like I said, I'm not that great at it. I've got this metal word from Dollar Tree that just says family. That's what all of this is about family today. And I'll kind of explain in a minute why we're doing Nautical for family. And I did the sheepskin, coated that probably twice, and then I did the antique wax on top of that. So just to give you an idea, I was told all of my friends that are doing the hop with me today, that it's all about family because of Fisher House. And obviously Fisher House is really meant to take care of the families of our service members and veterans that have to get specialized care. So the whole idea was to make all of these about family. Now you're probably looking at Nautical and you're like, how in the world did she get family out of that? But I live in Florida. I've lived in Florida all of my life, and I grew up going to the beach. I mean, my mom at least doesn't really care for the beach too much, but I blame that on her being brought up in upstate New York. I'm going to go ahead and place my family word. I did do a coat of Mod Podge on it just to seal it all in, since it is painting on top of metal. I was figuring it would maybe like chip and stuff, so I didn't want to worry about that. And I'll take some twine and I'm just going to knot it a total of 3 times to keep just to give you something to look at instead of a hole, because I couldn't fill it. I tried. I could not figure out a good way to fill those holes. Back to story time. My aunts actually loved taking us to the beach. There was this one particular area of the beach that we'd go to that had like a rocky, almost like a pier, but it was made out of rocks, and it was naturally forming, I think. And we would go off on there and have adventures. Like we'd go check out the tide pools and see what kind of little creatures we could find. And it was just always a fond memory for me going to the beach. And now I have kids of my own and they love the beach. We're going to be doing a nice little beach vacation with my husband's side of the family. So just, it's always been to me like the beach is always been about family, family trips. So that is kind of where I went and got this nautical themed DIYs for family. Long story. Hopefully that's what you wanted to hear. Hopefully you wanted to hear my story while you watch my DIYs. So I just secured that with the twine, but I am going to go in with some hot glue as well. I'm going to hot glue the M down as well as part of the little parts that actually kind of hit the spokes. And hot glue my twine down just so it looks like it's constantly pulling at that knot, you know what I mean? So the knot doesn't look all flimsy floating around. And I added a lot of hot glue actually in the little opening part on the back as well, because I kind of felt like it was going to move around a lot. And I do, of course, secure it some more with one of my more permanent hold glues, since it was like metal on metal. It wasn't doing me any favors. Here it is all finished though. I hope you guys like it. So just to give you a little idea of how this hop is going, I've got 9 other DIYers that are in our family hop today, and all you have to do to be entered is just go watch their videos, give them a like, comment on their video, and then you're going to just hop on to the next person. So I've got the next person in the hop linked for you below in the description box. Go over to everyone's channels, and you know what, while you're there, just go ahead and subscribe if you aren't already. So we're going to go ahead and get back into our last DIY. We're going to start with one of these with a canvas that is like a rectangular one. It says just beachy on it. I thought it was super cute. And we're going to take all of this canvas off. Now this one, man, I tell you what, it was like secure. So I'm going to go in. First I tried a craft knife. That really wasn't working for me. Now I'm going to just do a box cutter. And what I also did is I heated it up a little bit, like where all the staples were, and it almost melted the canvas a little, and then I could really pull it out if I wanted to. I'll get my heat gun again, and I'm going to get rid of that sticker, and I'll heat up a little bit of where that middle part is, and it leaves a couple little pins, and you just get your pliers and just, you know, grab it and pull them out. Be careful, they're sharp. And I'll sand down where they were, and I'm going to take a couple of different paints. We're going for a driftwood look. I'm going in with hazelnut. Really not necessary because it's almost the exact same color as the, you know, the MDF board. So you can really skip this, but I started off doing it on one part of it and I was like, well, I guess I better do it to everywhere. See, when it dries, you can't even see it. So feel free to skip that. And then we're going to go in with Folk Art Parisian Gray. I'll go pretty heavy on this one because this is really starting to build up that driftwood look. And we're just going to layer on a couple of different things to give us that look. And hopefully when you see it, you'll get a driftwood feel for it too. And then I was like, you know what, driftwood has holes. So I just went ahead and stuck a couple of holes in there because you could still see the holes from the pin. And I figured, let's just go with it. We're going to do our folk art sheepskin again on this one, and we're going to go over probably not as heavy as we did with the gray. And again, we're building it up, making it more driftwood-like. Now I'm going to take the sheepskin paint and go over the canvas part itself. Just again, we're weathering it, making it looking a little bit older. You know the deal. You know how we do that here. And we're gonna go in with the antique wax and go over it. And I'm focusing in on this one a lot on the lettering and the parts of the canvas that are already white, just to tone down some of that white. We'll add some hot glue on to our little board. I'm kind of trying to go in between the staples just so I wasn't putting it right on the staples, but you know, work as quickly as you can or go in sections. That would work just as well. And I will just push that down on there, and I do flip it around and kind of go back and try to, you know, clean up, add a little more glue if I need it. And just, I cut around the edges just to get rid of the excess. And now I'm taking some of that same thicker twine. I got this roll, I want to say at Walmart. And I'm just going to do little sections, and I'm going to put it almost around the top like a trim. I thought about using it just for a trim and then decided I wanted to add a little hanger. So I'll show you how I do that. Just, you know, add all of your glue down section by section if you want to, however you feel like you want to. And I was about to cut it, and I was like, you know what, I can make this a hanger. So I'll take just a little bit more, and I'll glue down that, kind of gauging where, you know, how long you want your hanger to be. And then we'll glue that down, clean it up a little bit on, you know, the excess, and we'll have a nice little hanger for our reverse canvas. And I think it turned out really nice. I really like it. Even if I don't use the hanger, I was like, I like just the look of it, even if I'm not going to use it functionally. I'll glue it down a little bit more just to give it some more security in case I do end up hanging it. I don't know if I'm going to though, I'll be honest. I think I'm going to leave it just for decorative, you know, standing. Here it is though, all finished up. And that was our last DIY. I want to thank everyone for coming and supporting all that I've had going on this month. And don't forget to go check out everyone else in the hop to get entered. I almost forgot to tell you, it is going to be announced on Tuesday, and I'll have all the details down in the description box for you as well. And I will see you next time.